I'm Jeff Zakrzewski. I handle all things kind of platform engineering at Ritual. I deal with everything more systematic, dealing from data to security, privacy, regulatory, payments, like all those kind of like platform level engineering systems. Food ordering is quite crowded. You've got the obvious really large players out there. Ritual has a very particular niche, which is around the workplace actually, and the concept of social ordering. So it's a little bit of magic in terms of free delivery and ordering with your friends. And we also power a wide variety of company food ordering programs as well. So I think our biggest challenges are, it's definitely in the data space, and it's definitely dealing with just the sheer wide variety of options that you've got out there. And I think in particular, it's really easy in the data world to end up requiring a pretty wide mix of resources working on any given solution. The classic situation, at least the one when we started working with Shakudo, was around having data scientists and having them able to execute their tasks without getting blocked by lack of availability of data or ML engineers fundamentally. Right, Shakudo really kind of, I think, ended up alleviating a lot of the need for the direct data engineering or DevOps type operational requirement, and allowed our data scientists to just go to create the models and get them out to production fairly quickly. I would say there's really a couple of main parameters when I'm looking at any of these solutions. One of them is the longer term arc, which is how does this fit into our overall data architecture, data system architecture, right? So there's always considerations about, we've obviously invested in certain technologies currently, in terms of where our data warehouse is, what pipelines we have. So is the other pieces of technology we're bringing in, is it going to play well with that architecture? And is it also going to help us evolve that architecture over time? So that's really the first concern. The second concern is definitely around cost and efficiency and operational effectiveness of running these solutions, right? We really did see a large increase in efficiency of the team was the biggest impact, right? And I think that was kind of a trend that started in that area and over time has extended to other areas beyond data scientists, as well as we've taken advantage of more components that are available within Shakudo, right? It has been a matter of being able to effectively outsource some of our DevOps and our operational needs to the Shakudo umbrella as a whole, right? Whether it's the product directly or the team behind it. One area that is really critical, being in the food services industry, our margins are very tight. Right, we're operating in a highly competitive market. Having a really tight focus on cost efficiency of any of the solutions has been really important, and Shakudo has directly helped us to achieve that. In particular, there was one solution that we looked to you to help us with recently, which was dealing with synchronizing our primary operational database over to our data warehouse. It's a fairly large database. There's a variety of tools out there like Fivetran and Stitch. We were relying on Stitch. And the cost was becoming prohibitive with that solution. So with Shakudo's help, we explored implementing a couple different options within that environment, and ended up deploying, and is currently live and running and has been for a number of months, a solution which was significantly cheaper. I think it was somewhere on the order of about 60 to 70% cheaper than what Stitch was going to be, which in turn is somewhere around 50 to 75% cheaper than Fivetran. So we're looking at, same functionality that we had fundamentally, but operated at a much more efficient cost within our own cloud structure. I was personally surprised by the level of involvement from the team and the care that went into making sure that the solutions worked for us. When I look at new solutions, typically a lot of the burden is going to fall on myself or one of my more senior team members to explore different options in the market and really kind of like see what's out there, which is a decent amount of time investment, right? And I think the Shakudo team, because of their breadth of knowledge of dealing with different components in market, either already had insight into a number of the components or was willing to take them on and do the investigation for us to determine like what might be the best solution, right? And then it's one thing to do that, but it's another thing to follow through all the way to a complete solution that is running at a very efficient cost standpoint, right? And that's what happened in the end as well. So when I take a look at our infrastructure, I'm looking to establish something that does not have to be revised all the time, something that can last for, at least in the data world, 2 to 3 years, I think, is a reasonable hope. 5 years is a dream, which really often never happens, but we can think about that. But the realities of everything data is that there is massive and rapid change in tool sets, in open source environments, product offerings, new technologies. What I'm really looking for is actually flexibility, right? I'll choose a path, I'll choose a set of tech that I can work with for a certain time period. But there's an understanding that you're going to need to adopt new tools in the middle of that you weren't expecting to, right? There will be just efficiencies that you'll get out of new product offerings that you couldn't have anticipated necessarily, right? So having flexibility of choice of what is making up your stack is probably the most important thing to me. And that's really actually what Shakudo is driving for us.